This is the sixth rule by Jordan Peterson, and it says to set your house in complete order before you criticize the world. So this chapter reminds the reader that we should take responsibility of ourselves, and we should stop blaming the world and pointing the finger at external things, and work on ourselves and better ourselves. There's a paragraph in this book that says, have you cleaned up your life? Have you actually taken responsibility of the things that you have to do, of the task that you have to complete? Jordan says that you should stop doing what you know it's wrong, because you don't have to ask yourself if it's wrong or right, because your being lets you know if it's wrong or right. There's probably this habit that you've been asking yourself, is it bad or is it not? But you shouldn't ask yourself that. You should express your being, and your being will let you know that is wrong or right. What I mean by that is, you know that porn is not good for you. And you feel horrible after you watch porn, right? It feels horrible. So you know that is not good for you, because you feel bad after you do that. And if you were doing something that's genuinely good for you, you shouldn't be feeling resentment and regret after you do that habit. So if you exercise, you probably feel really good after that exercise, right? You feel like confident, you feel proud, you feel strong, and you actually start to feel yourself like you are better, and you see yourself in the mirror like stronger, even though you are not really growing that much in a month, because it takes a lot to build a good aesthetic body, right? So if you know that habit, it makes you feel really bad and you regret doing that, why should you keep doing that thing? Now, another really important thing that Jordan Peterson says here is that you should stop saying things that make you sound weak. You should get rid of the or the or the like, and I struggle with this personally, but you should use words that make you feel and express yourself as strong, as masculine. As a young man, that is necessary. You should express yourself as strong. What do you really desire? What do you really want? You should express yourself to other people around you. And express what you really want. Be truthful to yourself. That is what Jordan Peterson says. Not in this chapter only. He said it in multiple chapters. Jordan Peterson actually says to take some responsibility, to take some blame for an action that we did, and have some humility to start working and better that thing that we did. Because you probably, and me personally, I know people that point the finger at other people and they feel better about themselves while doing that. They point the finger at you, but inside they're rotten, basically. They just want to see every mistake you do, but they don't see themselves. And I think these people are hypocrites, because while I see these people pointing the finger at other people, right, they themselves have some faults that they commit, and they say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, oh, but they go ahead and do it. So it's nonsense. Now, another important point in this chapter is that if you can bring peace into your house, into your household, then how are you gonna bring peace upon the state? So that means you can't rule a city if you can't even bring peace to your house. So that's why we should take responsibility of ourselves. Because if we are ambitionful and we want to commit these goals and achieve these goals, we can't do that if we don't have this discipline, and we don't have the discipline to clean our house and be responsible. So when you take responsibility, all the negative emotions that you have, anxiety, hopelessness, and nihilistic thoughts, they actually start to feel less. They actually stop in your mind. I felt this when I started to take responsibility and going out there, doing something and working hard. I actually felt myself like all these thoughts I had in my mind were meaningless and they disappeared. They just disappeared across time because I was at peace with my inner self. Because when you take some responsibility, you feel like you're doing something and you feel proud of yourself while doing that thing. So if you're feeling anxiety or overthinking too much, take some responsibility. And I think that is the most important part about this rule. I really think that peace will come to you if you start being productive. Now, Jordan Peterson in this book talks about murderers and mass murderers. And he says that all of them have this thing in common, which is the hate for humanity. That hate for humanity is the worm in the apple, as Jordan Peterson describes. And when you take some responsibility, it seems like that hate for humanity actually starts to lessen and starts being less and less. So to summary this chapter, take some responsibility, clean your house or clean yourself. More it is more important to improve yourself and take some responsibility before you criticize and point the finger at someone else. Now, the seventh rule by Jordan Peterson is pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. I did I say that right? Expedient. I think I said it right. Now, there is a lot of people who justify their impulses, their instant gratification, and the bad habits because they say that the world is just pain and suffering. They say, oh, well, we're gonna all die tomorrow. Why not do the things that make me feel good? Why not feel pleasure all the time and be in this hedonistic state of being? But this is not a valid excuse. There is another way, the way of meaningfulness instead of pleasure, and indulge yourself in giving up today for tomorrow. There is literally a better path that you can take today, which is pursuing what is meaningful instead of being like these people that justify pain, suffering with their bad habits. So me personally, I used to live like this. I used to live indulging in the bad habits, eating shit food. Literally, ate fast food and fast and easy food. Literally giving up my health, giving up the tomorrow for today, the present. And that is the worst thing you can do because the rewards that you will get in the future are way bigger than the ones that you can get today. I used to be controlled by my impulses, and then I started to take some self-control and mindfulness. And I cultivated these habits of being responsible and controlling my impulses by meditating. Now, the generosity for me was the norm. It was everyday thing that I used to do. I will wake up in the generosity, and the generosity I fell asleep, being non-productive person. So I encourage you to control your impulses and your instant gratification habits. I used to say this all because, oh, life is gonna pass anyways. Why not do this, you know? Why not enjoy the things that I have today? Why not give up the tomorrow for today? A lot of people live like this today. But like I said, there's another path. Now, there's something called delayed gratification. You probably heard of this, right? There's been a lot of people talking about it nowadays. And Delayed gratification is that you can give up something today of value for rewards in the future. Basically, you trade with the future self of yourself. You trade with yourself for a better reward in the future. Something better might be attained if you give up something of value in the present. That is the whole definition of delayed gratification. Jordan Peterson wrote in his book that humans discovered that if you work and sacrifice yourself for something in the future, rewards could be better. We began to make the future better with ourselves. And he actually wrote this in the book that our ancestors learned how to set aside some extra meat for later. So when we used to live in caveman days, your ancestors probably set some meat aside for later or for someone else who was not present in the moment, and they thought, well, I don't need to eat this much. I can actually save this for later, and I can get this recompense and this reward in the future for myself, so I don't have to be hungry later. Start today to trade with yourself, with your future self, by delaying pleasure and sacrificing for tomorrow. Some examples of delayed gratification activities might be exercising, reading, meditating, and other stuff that is not indulging in pleasure today. One example of delayed gratification is giving up that porn that you know is not good for your mind. You know that it's rotting your mind because you go outside and all you see is degeneracy and you start denigrating women. So you know this is not good for you and you should give this up. And I feel like it will be so good for you for your future self to look back up on you and say, "Oh, I'm actually so grateful for me giving this activity because I grew from that experience and now I'm a better person." That would be like a beautiful thing. If your future self could be grateful for what you're doing today. If you're giving up something that feels hard to give up for tomorrow, you will get really big rewards in the future. So I encourage you to do this. I'm just excited for you to try this, for you to actually go and give up this thing that you know it's fucking up your life. For your future self to look back up on you and say, "Oh, good job. I'm actually better because of you." It will be a wholesome thing for you to do. Now, there's a quote by Jordan Peterson, and it says that imagine that the future is a judgmental father, and small sacrifices lead to solving small problems, but big sacrifices, they lead to a bigger reward. So if you are doing a small sacrifice, you will get some rewards, but it's not as big as if you sacrifice something that is painful to sacrifice. And you will get such a big reward in the future if you sacrifice something bigger. Now, Jordan Peterson says that you should practice sacrificing and sharing, and things will go well for you. They generally will start to improve your life if you give up this for a better future and sacrifice and work. Now, what do you think that successful people do? Why do people who are successful become successful? It's because they delay the gratification. Because they suffer while the unsuccessful doesn't. Because they put some time into this thing to be successful. Let's say they're fighting. This person who's fighting has spent way more hours and sacrificed themselves out in the rain, training and training and training every morning. And it hurts, it's hard to do it. But this person will actually win because they're practicing more hours than the one who's not, the one who is being lazy. That's why successful people are created, because of their habits. Because they delay the gratification, because they say, I'm not taking pleasure today, I gotta train. No, I gotta train. No, I gotta train. That's why they become strong. And the unsuccessful people don't. So delayed gratification is a tool to win. Now the last thing for this video, if the world you are seeing is not the world that you want, you should examine your values. So that means if the surroundings that you are in are the ones that you don't want to be in, you should start wondering why you're there, why you are in this place where you are not able to grow. And then examine them carefully. Like Jordan Peterson says, you should examine those values that you have carefully and improve them. And that way, the visions and the dreams and the goals that you have will actually show themselves. And if you take some responsibility, you will become who you might be, the man that you're supposed to be, instead of staying the one that you are right now. And that is called growth. Now that's it for this video. I hope this was valuable for you, and I hope you learned something.